Hey guys, it's Chris, and I'm back with another House of the Dragon, A Song of Ice and Fire universe update for you guys. I got some good news and some bad news. So we'll go with the bad news first. We're probably not going to get the Winds of Winter. Winter is not coming. If we do get it, it will be years and years down the road, and we'll definitely never get a Dream of Spring. So there's going to be all these arguments forever about the ending of Game of Thrones versus the book ending, if it's going to be different, all that stuff, etc. But let me go through the little update we have from George R. R. Martin. So let's go over here to a bigger display here. So you remember this back in 2016, we have a update on George R. R. Martin's Germs, not a blog. I'm not writing anything until I deliver Winds of Winter. Teleplays, screenplays, short stories, introductions, forwards, nothing. And I've dropped all my editing projects but wild cards. This is back in February 16th of 2016. So this was, damn, 6 years ago? This is 6 years ago now. 6 years ago. It's fucking 2022. So you remember that. I remember this coming out. Everybody was excited. You know, so we're going to get Winds. That means Winds is coming. We'll get it next year, 2017, 2018. Of course, it rolled around and never got delivered, et cetera, et cetera. And so we know there's been some issues with him writing in the first place. We know there was the 5-year gap. He's written himself into a corner. A lot of speculation about what the hell is going on. There's always been some issues. But the update is, the good news is, and that's pretty bad news. I just don't think we'll ever get it. I think he's probably, just my opinion, I think he's probably wore out of the main story. I think Game of Thrones, the ending really threw him for a loop because he did say in multiple interviews I've shown on this channel before that he don't think that the ending would be that different because of the information he gave Dan and Dave, and he knows people hated it. So I think he's probably just maybe not going to finish it. I don't know. I mean, he says he is. I'll take him for his word. But anyway, let's get to the updates of the good news. So that was his 2016 post. So we go over here to the recent update. We have his Not a Blog here. Random updates and bits of news here. I look around, I don't know where our 2021 went. I blinked and it was gone. Not a year that I'm going to mourn much more than 2020. Global pandemic, so many deaths, including friends of mine as well as celebrities of all sorts. Politics growing increasingly toxic. I agree. There's no more nuance in anything. It was a year best forgotten. I did, however, get a lot of work done in 2021. An enormous amount of work in truth. I seem to have an enormous number of projects. Of course he does. I am not complaining. I am like working, writing, editing, producing. There's nothing I like better than storytelling. I know. For many out there, there's only one project that matters. I am sorry for you. They all matter to me. So the tone's starting to change here a little bit. It was all about delivering wins before, and things have obviously changed. And again, this is personal life. It's completely up to him. He's not my personal author or anybody's personal author for that matter. So it's just, you can see the tone is now shifted, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. Yes, of course, I am still working on the Winds of Winter. I have stated that 100 times in 100 venues. Having to restate it endlessly is just wearisome. I made a lot of progress on Winds in 2020 and less in 21, but less is not none. So he is working on it. There's a hint of hope there. Less is not none. It makes me wonder if he really did much at all last year. But of course, apparently he did state before he wrote hundreds and hundreds of pages in 2020, I believe it was. But those are manuscript pages, a little bit different from what we would consider book pages. Having written a book now, I understand that kind of stuff. Anyway, we'll continue here. The world of Westeros. The world of A Song of Ice and Fire is my number one priority and will remain so until the story is told. See, that's different there. Westeros is different from Winds and A Song of Ice and Fire, the series. Westeros is different. And here's where we get into it. But Westeros has become bigger than the Winds of Winter. There's the big tone shift. I mean, Winds of Winter is the next book in the story. A Dream of Spring will be the last one. This is where the big tone shift comes. Now Westeros is bigger than just the book. And again, he's the author, his prerogative. Or even A Song of Ice and Fire. In addition to Winds, I also need to deliver the second volume of Archmaester Gadane's History of Fire and Blood. Now, what's happening here is he knows he got behind on Game of Thrones, and we have House of the Dragon coming, and there's some things he may need to touch up there for make sure he has the rest of the material. I'm assuming that if they go that far, again, they may not, but this is just my speculation. And as I mentioned before, he said in blog posts and venues, etc., that he's not doing anything else until Winds of Winter is done. Now we've changed. So he's got Fire and Blood 2. Thinking of calling it Blood and Fire rather than just F&B Volume 2. Got a couple hundred pages of that one written. There's still a long way to go. So he's already started writing Fire and Blood 2. I need to write more of the Dunk and Egg novellas to tell the rest of their stories, especially since there's a television series about them in development. So that's great news in the sense of a TV show, because Dunk and Egg, they're outstanding stories, by the way. Highly recommend you get Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is all three into one book. And he will be working on the TV show of that, which will be a really good show, I'm sure, because they're going to do this whole, Ice and Fire universe on HBO. To continue here, there's a lavish coffee table book coming later this year, an illustrated condensed version of Fire and Blood done with Elio and Linda, my partners from the world of Ice and Fire, and my Fever River art director, Rhea Golden. So another coffee table book coming, which is going to be a condensed version of Fire and Blood. I don't know why we need that. Hopefully he don't have to do a lot with that since it's already written. Somebody else can just kind of design it if he's already, if it's a condensed version, I'm not sure. It's just really about artwork, I'm assuming. And another book after that, a Who's Who in Westeros, and that's just the books. So we have a Who's Who in Westeros, which I don't know why we need that either, because we kind of know Who's Who in Westeros if you read the main books. But again, a lot of projects here, and those are just the books, as you mentioned. There are also the successor shows. Obviously talking about to Game of Thrones. Those have taken a ton of my time and attention this year. I've seen some comments out there questioning how much I'm involved in these new series. The answer is a lot. I mean, right there it is. The answer is a lot. So this is what we was kind of hoping he would not be involved as much, since we have source material. He just kind of hands it off and lets the showrunners do what they're going to do and write Winds of Winter, but he's involved a lot. Deeply, heavily involved in every one of the new shows. It's my world, and while I have been working closely with some fantastic writers and showrunners, ultimately it's up to me to try to keep the canon, canonical, and to do all I can to help make the new shows great. And I love the stories too. So very involved with all the shows, and I admire the fact that it's my world. While I've been working closely with other people, it's ultimately up to me to keep it right. So this is kind of the course correction from Game of Thrones, I think, about how it went as far as some of the big changes. So far, I'm very excited. House of the Dragon has wrapped in London and is now in post-production. What I have seen, I have loved, which is great news. We're really looking forward to House of the Dragon. And again, I apologize for lack of content in the last couple of weeks. There's just been no news about anything House of the Dragon. And of course, that's what we're focused on here. So if you would like to follow along with our journey through House of the Dragon and the other Ice and Fire shows, please click that subscribe button and pop that like button while you're at it, please. It really, really help out the channel as we try to start to grow again and get to that magical 100K. I really appreciate it. Anyway, I'm excited to hear about the other successor shows as well. However, I'm dying to tell you about them, but I'm not supposed to. So, well, maybe there are a few things I can tell you. Things HBO has previously announced or hinted at, and he goes on to spill some of the beans here. We are developing live-action shows for HBO and animated shows for HBO Max. No, I can't tell you how many, but it's my hope that a number of these shows will get on the air. Not all, no, it is never all, but more than one. I certainly hope so. Some of the ideas we are working on are quite different in tone and approach than what has gone before, and that thrills me. The world of Westeros and Essos, etc. is huge, and there is room for many types of stories about a wide range of characters. What can I tell you? Well, let's see. Bruno Heller, the creator and showrunner of Rome, is writing his pilot script for the Corlys Valerian series. So we have Corlys coming out in House of the Dragon, obviously, and he apparently is going to get his own show if it does make it to air. That one started out as 9 Voyages, but now we're calling it The Sea Snake, since we all wanted to avoid having 2 shows and numbers and the title. The other, the 10,000 Ship, the Nymeria series, I think we've heard about this. We talked about it before a little bit, a show about Nymeria and the 10,000 Ships. Basically the unification of Dorne under the Rhoynar, which would be cool. Amanda Siegel, our showrunner, has delivered a couple of drafts of that one, and we're forging ahead. The third live-action show is the Dunk and Egg series, helmed by Steve Conrad. My team and I have some great sessions with Steve and his team, and we really hit it off. He's determined to do a faithful adaptation of the stories, which is exactly what I want. These characters and stories are very precious to me. So, again, he's kind of tightening the reins down on, look, if you're going to use these things, you got to get it right, which is great. The first season will be an adaptation of the first novella, The Hedge Knight. Again, I highly recommend these books. Contrary to what you may have read online, the show will not be called Dunk and Egg, which could be mistaken for a sitcom by viewers unfamiliar with the stories. We're leaning towards a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms for a series title, though The Hedge Knight has its partisans as well. So there you go. Over the animated side, well, I'm not allowed to talk about most of what's happening except to say that most things are moving very fast, and I love, love, love some of the concept art I'm seeing. And wait, come to think of it, the news leaked several months ago that one of the anime shows will be set in Yeti. Now, Yeti is really not even talked about a lot in the main stories, so it's just kind of I guess he's just expanding the world here. So I don't know how big this one will be to people, but, it's something. That's true. Our working title is The Golden Empire, and we have a great young writer on that one, too, and I can think the art animation is just going to be beautiful. I don't think I can say a word about the other animated shows, not yet. So more animated shows as well. So there's lots going on. And House of the Dragon is coming soon. That's what you'll see first. And me, I will continue to work with the writers and showrunners and directors and producers of all these shows, plus Road Marks for HBO, Dark Winds for AMC, and Wild Card for UCP and Peacock, and Night of the Cooters should be finished this month as well. And in addition to all that, let me say again, yes, I am still working on Winds of Winter. Current mood, tired. I bet, man. That's a lot of shit to be taken on, man. That's what I'm saying. So there's the little update from George R. Martin himself. A lot of stuff coming from HBO. We're going to see an entire Ice and Fire universe, almost like the Marvel Cinematic Universe or DCEU, whatever. So we're going to see it all on screen, but unfortunately that's going to come at a cost, and I don't think we'll probably ever get Winds of Winter. I just don't think one person cannot do all this, is what I'm saying. So if we do eventually get Winds of Winter, because we thought for sure that just a few years ago it'd be done after all these years between Dance and now the Winds of Winter. So I doubt we'll ever get it. If we do, it'll be probably many years away after some of these shows are already off and running, I'm assuming. And then I don't think we'll ever get a Dream of Spring. So again, there will always be that argument somewhere about Game of Thrones was their ending. It was Dan and Dave's, and some of that was, yes, of course. But again, as I've shown many times on this channel, he has said that it's not going to be that different as far as the major beats and everything, because that's the information that he gave them. So we will see, unfortunately, Mad Queen Dany in some way, shape, or form. Probably make more sense in the books the way he writes it. And we will see King Bran and all the major beats and stuff. Obviously, the other characters that weren't included in the show will have their own endings, of course. But anyway, just wanted to give you a quick update. We're going to see a lot of cool stuff coming from HBO, so we have a lot of stuff to cover for many, many, many years. That's lots of videos and live streams and all that good stuff, so I look forward to it. But winter is not coming.